Chapter 1. The Sentence She Chose. I rehearsed for a fight and got a receipt. I slept with her, I said. Once. Maya stood at the sink, the one that squeaks if you open it too fast. She didn't ask for the name. She didn't throw a glass. She said, "Okay, then we start counting," and kissed my forehead with the precision of a cashier stamping a date. Counting what? Days without lying? Minutes I stared at my phone? I tried to apologize in complicated paragraphs. She answered with nouns. Dinner, she said. Sleep. Work. That night she put her hand on my chest and said, "I don't need to win. I need the truth to show up." The sentence was simple enough to be dangerous. I slept like someone who'd left a candle burning in another room, ready to jump up and admit the fire would be my fault. In the morning I heard myself speaking softer than usual, as if sound could jar the delicate peace she'd set on the table like a glass. The apartment smelled like honey and burnt toast. Domestic air. The ordinary frightened me more than shouting. Ordinary makes failure look like a sudden drop-off of a clean edge. Chapter 2. The Mirror Phone. 2 days later, my phone greeted me with rearranged apps and a photo I hadn't taken. Our bedroom at 4:12 a.m. Lamp off, my shape caught in the wardrobe mirror like a rumor. I blamed an update. People like me prefer the technical version of events. At lunch, Maya texted, "Vesper tonight, 8:45, sit at the bar." Vesper is a red-lit bar where couples fight in whispers. I counted ice cubes and watched the door. Maya walked in with Sloane's cousin, the tall one with the soft jaw and the posture of a man used to good choices. She didn't see me because she never looked my way. She laughed a laugh that didn't belong to me. Jealousy is chemical, not philosophical. My hands shook like small engines. I left cash and slipped out the back. Rage prefers alleys. At the corner, my phone lit with a new life photo. Maya at the bar, head tipped back, the man's hand hovering near her elbow. Not touching. The frame was too perfect. Art or bait? At home I searched, turn off screen mirroring, how to stop device from syncing photos. Why is there a folder called Witness? I pressed settings I didn't understand. The knot in my stomach understood me fine. At 2 a.m., 3 more clips appeared on the mirrored roll. Me entering our building without looking around. Me pausing at the mailbox. Me standing in the kitchen in the dark. Each came with a timestamp printed by a hand that liked rulers.
Chapter 3. The Ledger. The ledger lived in the one place I never dusted, the linen closet's top shelf, inside a shoebox labeled Winter. A leather notebook with a snapped strap. First page, R.E. Evan counts. Her clear print, every word placed as if measured. Day 1, confession, no raised voice, remorse visible. Asks for rules. Day 3, Vesper, jealousy test, failed loudly. Day 5, mirroring intact, chooses not to notice, sees but doesn't ask. Day 8, likely finds ledger, leave in plain sight but accidental. Deadline, honesty deficit, -14. In the back flat pocket, slips that looked like receipts but weren't. Tiny printouts with time, location, and a title. Looked away when it mattered. Said, "It was nothing." Searched her phone with your eyes. Each slip had a price. 1 hour, 2 hours, 1 day. I laughed because I recognized myself. Analytical even in hell. The laugh died when I realized the entries began long before my confession. She had started counting before I admitted there was anything to count. A Polaroid fell from the middle. Maya and me caught in a storefront reflection, one old fall. A strand of her hair covers half my face. On the back, learn to be visible. Chapter 4. The Other Room. The other woman had a name, Lena, and a habit of texting late and deleting early. The affair was a suitcase I kept packed in my head for emergencies and trips I never should have taken. I told myself it was over before I said it was. The ledger disagreed. Maya began staging scenes that forced me to choose who I was in public. She set her phone face up at dinner with a muted preview from Theo about a gallery opening. "Who's Theo?" I asked. "Nobody," she said with a smile that carried no cruelty, which made it worse. She took up running at night. She came home with cheeks lit in the color I didn't know how to name. The scent of her shampoo fused with cold air, and I imagined the life that wasn't planning to take me. On Friday, she said, "I rented us a storage unit. We have too much past in the house." At the unit behind a blue door, she lifted a tarp. Boxes sat labeled in her patient hand. "Gifts I bought to quiet us. Lies we agreed to. Mornings you left early." "Is this revenge?" I asked. She said, "It's accounting. Revenge has interest. Accounting has totals." On the way out, she placed a tiny brass key on my palm with a tag that read, "Keep, return. When you know which is which, file it yourself." Chapter 5. The Man in the Booth. The first time I saw her sit close to the man from Vesper was in a diner, with vicious coffee and a security monitor that critiques your posture. They took the corner booth, hands on the table, the distance polite, the kindness of not touching. I took the counter seat, second from the end, the seat for men who want to look undramatic. My phone vibrated. Rule: if you're gonna watch me completely. I wanted to stand and say something that would rewind us to the pre-Ledger life. Instead, I paid cash and left. In the parking lot, a kid in a hoodie lifted his phone the way people do when they are absolutely not filming you, and absolutely are. At home, the mirrored folder titled Witness had new entries. Me watching, me leaving, me choosing the door. That night, Maya left an envelope on the table marked, "For you." Inside, printed timestamps of my entrances and exits. On the margins, prices, -2 trust, -1 day of silence. A game where you lose by playing. Chapter 6. Her forgiveness, my revenge. Jealousy needs an object. When it can't have one, it manufactures. I texted Lena and chose the worst place for penance. A hotel bar where everyone looks like someone they're not. "We said goodbye," she reminded me, touching my wrist, parentheses around the sentence. "I need to explain," I lied. Then told the truth because I'm bad at lying when people are at stake. I told Maya. She forgave me. "She'll ruin you quietly," she said with a bruise-like smile. "The quiet ones always do." We left. A woman in a housekeeping uniform stopped me to ask directions in a voice I recognized too late. Sloane. She looked past me to the far end of the corridor where a red camera light blinked, and I realized I had walked into their theater and hit my mark. I tried a spiteful, small plan. I changed the password to our family photo archive, a control grab disguised as cybersecurity. Within an hour, Maya texted, "Want to control doors? Open the door where you're guilty." Then a link to the shared witness folder. Chapter 7. The bill didn't come in an envelope. It arrived as a concerned friend email sent to my boss, my mother, and me. 2 minutes of hotel hallway, my profile, Lena's laugh, the room number neatly cropped out like a courtesy. No explicit content, only implication. Maya sat at the table with the ledger open to repayment plan. I said, "This is cruelty." She replied, "This is a bill. You kept the debt. I'm asking you to pay, with truth, to the people who deserve it." "You sent the video." "I didn't," she said, and I believed her. When her anger arrives, it's exact. "Then who?" She tapped the ledger margin. "Who profits most if we burn?" I dialed. I told my boss and my mother. My mother asked, "Go back to the beginning. When did you become the version of you I don't recognize?" I said, "Soon. because I didn't have coordinates. That night, I found a small zip bag in the ledger drawer, our old apartment keys, and a note. Return your gaze to where you left it. I went. New curtains, new soap smell. The elevator remembered us. The hallway didn't. Time doesn't just heal. It removes testimony while you rehearse your statement. Chapter 8. The person who edited us. The editor was the same boy from other nights with other cameras, Milo, Jonah Lang's son, currently practicing activism like a ritual that might add years to the dead. He believed he was helping women by making examples of men like me. He scraped my mirrored backups from a cloud I hadn't secured and cut a tidy story about male apologies that don't last a weekend. We found them at a co-working space Iris rented, the curator clerk who builds boring receipts that outlive spectacle. Milo stood in front of 5 friends nodding like metronomes, screening my hallway walk. I said, identity theft. He said, public interest. Maya didn't raise her voice. Give me the raw footage. Or what? Or I will tell your mother that this is how you grieve. He laughed until he heard the gravity in her voice. He slid a flash drive across the table like a dare. On it, more than my sins, Vesper shots of Maya taken without my knowledge. The diner angles, the hotel corridor, fake messages to Lena from accounts pretending to be me. You're a vandal with software, Maya said. Go home. He left rehearsing a future where he was both defendant and hero. Iris lifted her own camera and spoke to the lens. This is a receipt. Itemized, boring, unprofitable. He's returning what he can. We're not selling pain, we're inventorying it. I want it to be seen again, not as an edit, but as a person still capable of choosing the next frame. Chapter 9. The Choice I Owed. We watched the raw files at the same kitchen table where our marriage has done its best and worst thinking. After an hour, Maya closed the laptop. I never cheated, she said. I made you believe I might. I thought jealousy could hurt you into honesty. Did it? I don't know, she said. I wanted you to feel my side of the wall. I felt the fire and the wall. She pushed the ledger to me. The last page was blank except for a line at the top. What was true before the cameras? I said it. It was smaller than any clip. The months I was absent while living in the same room. The way I let someone else's praise stand in for the work of being the man I said I was. The Joel I mistook for proof I was alive. I told the part cameras never catch. How ordinary betrayal looks from inside the betrayal. Maya wrote as I spoke. When my courage thinned, she capped the pen. Do you want revenge or repair? You can't have both. What do you want? I want to stop counting, she said. We made a list of who deserved the truth. My mother, my boss, Sloan, a friend I'd trained to lie for me. I wrote single-page letters, facts without heroics. Some replied, some didn't. Both responses taught me something about the cost of forgiveness they'd pay and the limits they wouldn't.
Chapter 10. What we kept. Rituals require rooms. We carried the ledger back to the storage unit. Beneath a tarp sat a middle box with 2 envelopes, keep and return. In keep, we put the truths that worked, names of therapists we actually called, a small rule book to speak before jealousy does, no mirrors without consent, no staged tests, say I'm scared out loud, don't leave the conversation after you've already won with volume or silence. In return, we placed the rest, the raw clips, the corridor video, the diner stills, the moment of Maya's laugh that context turned into a weapon. On the lid, we wrote in marker, unforgiven things we won't use, and slid it to the back. I said, someone will still have copies. She said, someone always does. We still choose what we screen. We didn't stay together by magic. We stayed by audit. I called people I owed and said the line I should have said before. I did this. I'm not asking for your absolution. I'm informing you because you were injured by the lie. Some forgave, some didn't. Acceptance of both felt like a kind of spiritual physical therapy. Slow, dull, necessary. Some evenings, when the house is kind and the faucet doesn't squeak, Maya opens the first page where day 1 begins and draws a thin line through counts. Under it, she writes choices. What if we start counting again? I ask. She says, then we tape a rule to the door, and together we write on the inside of the storage unit, say it before the camera does. Some days we manage it. On other days we fail by morning and try again after lunch. Jealousy still knocks. Forgiveness knocks too. We no longer make them fight in the hallway. We invite them to the table, give them chairs, and count out loud with them until numbers become something we can hold and then put down. The video still exists in the places where everything exists. Occasionally a link arrives. Is this you? I answer with the single page that contains no decorative words. Sometimes I'm not believed. Sometimes I'm told respect in a tone that means lucky. It's still easier than silence. It's better than living inside someone else's edit. At night, I take the tiny keep return tag from my wallet and hold it to my temple like a child playing triage. What do we keep? What do we return? I ask the dark. Maya calls from the bedroom. Keep yourself. Return the rest to the shelf. I believe her. Not in enemies defeated or everyone happy, but in the bureaucracy of the heart that finally works. If ever counting tempts us again, we'll recognize it by the clatter of empty jars in the kitchen, and we'll switch the camera off before it speaks for us.